Well, hello again, Talking Ballers fans. Welcome into episode 3 of season 2. Can you believe it, Trevor Will? We're already on episode 3. We got a great one for you today. You don't want to miss it. Mr. Joel Johnson's in the house. Episode 3 coming your way next. And we're back. You're listening to Talking Ballers. Trevor Wilt, my man. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. This is the Dale Podcast, Season 2, number 3.
Season 2, number 3 for Dale, baby.
Hold it up, baby. Excited to be here on episode number 3. And we had a player last week, and we're going to change things up a little bit. Go the front office realm. We're going to have on Joel Johnson in the next little bit. Yes. Again, I think last week was so different. It was the first time we had an international player on and ended up getting awesome reviews on it, awesome ratings. I normally text Jordan. Jordan's like he's the analytics guy. He's the brains behind about getting out the pod and making sure we sound good. And I was like, hey, how we doing? He goes, Trev, pretty stinking good.
Yeah, the first 24 hours of Ryan's show, we were already close to like 700, 900 some views. And I was like, this is crazy. Usually it takes us like a good couple days to get up to those numbers. And so that was pretty cool seeing that. That was awesome.
Yeah, love seeing that. And again, this is another different kind of way that we're going to look at the Kannapolis Cannonballers and for you, the people. So we want to keep bringing some different perspectives to the podcast, and with Joel doing all our graphic design, jersey design. This is a year where we have not had this many jerseys purchased. We have not had this many players and coaches and whatever that may be reaching out saying, hey, we really like what we're wearing this year. And I know you're rocking the new KCB. This is our first time doing video as well.
I know, doing video thanks to our man Rolf. But listen, I knew we were having Joel on the podcast today. Had to rock the Southside cap in honor of my man who designed it. So, yeah, listen, this is going to be a fun episode. Joel's going to be so much fun to talk to. But let's talk a little Ballers baseball.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Not a lot to talk about, Trevor.
Yeah, right at 8-8. Just had a dicey win last night. They were up by 6 runs going into the 9th inning. Ended up giving up 6 runs. And I know it was our guy, Hale Sims from Charlotte. And he ended up giving up.
Big country, baby.
Yeah, big country. He ended up giving up, I think, 5 of those 6 runs in that 9th frame. And everybody pitched so well leading up to it. And sometimes that happens. Heck, I was watching Atlanta Braves. I'm a big Braves guy.
I was watching the Braves last night as well, Trevor.
Yeah, So 2 nights ago, Raisel Iglesias, he ended up giving up, 5 runs? Joel was actually at the game. He was at his game for his birthday.
That's right.
His birthday was on Monday, so I was watching that game, and Morgan's like, you were just so happy. Why are you not so happy? I'm like, Raisel Iglesias just gave up 4 runs in the bottom of the night. Top of the night.
Jenna just walks in, and she's like, baseball again? That's pretty much what she says, especially now that she's working at the stadium with us.
Oh, dude,
that's right. True. Yeah, up in the press box, she walks in. She's like, "Baseball again?"
Yeah. And
if it's usually for me, if it's not the Braves, it's like last night I was watching the Florida State game.
Okay.
Who
were they playing?
Stetson.
Oh yeah, love a good Stetson.
And so it's
the Hatters,
dude. They were good. They were shockingly good.
Stetson's not a bad baseball squad. They're actually very solid. And the reason why they're
out
called
of the A-Sun.
Out of the A-Sun, and they're called the Hatters, I think it's because the person who came up with the hat literally was from there.
Okay.
I think Joel, who is a huge hat geek, he may be able to give me the response to that, but I'm pretty sure they're called the Stetson Hatters is because the guy who literally created the hat went to Stetson.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. Or it was named after Stetson.
Like the Stetson hat.
The Stetson hat, yes, correct.
Yeah, okay. I'm tracking with you now.
And so is the hat, then the Hatters. Yeah. But anyways, yes, back to actual baseball.
The Carolina League is a whirlwind of emotions right now, Trevor, from top to bottom. If you look in the North Division, which we play in the South, if you look in the North Division, the Mudcats right now are 8-2. Their last 10 games overall, they're crushing it right now. Plus 53 run differential for the guys out of Zebulon.
This is the last year that they're playing out of there before they're moving out. So this is they're like, you know what, we're
making it count down that way. And then our good pal Andrew and his Fayetteville Woodpeckers are 6-4, but plus 16 run differential.
There you go. So that means they're in a lot of tight games. They're scoring a lot of runs as well. Hopefully just got to pick it up on the pitch and part of things.
And if there is a bright spot for us sitting tied for third in the South Division right now, we're plus 11 run differential.
There we go. Exactly. So that means that we're winning the games. We're scoring runs whenever we need to.
Right.
But it definitely has been our pitching. That has been the Achilles heel.
Man, it's almost like after the starter leaves the game, it's really tough.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, we don't know.
Big question mark.
I will say I really enjoyed watching Pierce George throw this week. I thought he threw phenomenal on Saturday night. I would like to have seen him go a little longer, but I understand even the relievers have pitch counts and caps.
Correct.
I loved seeing King George throw a little proclamation up there on the Towel City Terrace.
Dude, that was crazy.
Dude,
guys, he hit the ball.
It was hard.
Yeah, I mean, way over 400 feet, and it almost got to the first level of the apartment, so the condos that are up there. So got into the Towel City Tavern. Ended up getting it. I ended up getting the ball, running down, getting him to sign it post game, and then we got it to the guy who received it. It was his birthday that day.
Let's go.
So we ended up getting that. So I think his name's Eric or something like that. Apparently made his entire life.
That's
but
awesome.
he might have had a few baller beers in him that night. So I don't know if he knew exactly who hit it up there.
Yeah.
But it was definitely one for the night where even Steve from from Towel City Tavern, Steve Steinbacher, he's like, dude, was that the first one? I was like, that was the first
one.
Was it the first ever one hit up there fair?
Personally, the first one I've seen fair.
I know for a fact no cannonballer has done it.
Yeah, I will say that. Now you have me second guessing myself here, but I will say this is the first cannonballer.
Yes, I think it's the first cannonball. Again,
yeah.
Joel, he's not our Kannapolis historian, but I believe that Dan Haloti technically is. But I think Joel, he's got us all. He's a baseball guy through and through, so we're gonna have a lot. But he'll probably know that answer. But nonetheless, it was still there were still a lot of good things that we could take from last week. Even Braden Montgomery, the guy's a 14-15 game hit streak in the first 14-15 games.
Yeah, man, he's doing what a first rounder should do.
He is as advertised.
Yeah,
that's what he is, and it's awesome to see. And great dude.
Yeah,
hopefully have him on the pod here soon. We're working on that for next week or the week after that. But you never know how long he's going to be here. I know Rolf already had a sit down interview with him, did a feature story on him a couple weeks ago. Great guy, and it is cool, though, whenever you're a top prospect, Jordan, and you play like one.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do.
I can imagine it's probably a pretty big weight off of his shoulders knowing – I mean, think about, he's got a lot of stuff attached to him right now.
Yeah.
Like, you think when you hear that name, Braden Montgomery, who's a part of the big trade. And
Garrett Crochet trade.
Yes,
with the Red Sox.
And so he comes over. He comes from the Red Sox to the White Sox.
You're the centerpiece of the trade, right?
Yeah, big deal. And then he starts in Ktown, and he's showing out. Like, let's be real, dude's showing out.
Yeah.
And then Lyle Miller-Green's hitting the ball well. I think there's a couple other guys. Nick McLean's hitting the ball well.
Nate
Archer's hitting the ball well. I love that we shifted. 18 into the
Bonnemer.
Yeah, Bonnemer into the leadoff spot. Yeah, that was a good call.
He's got a Christian walk-up song too, bro.
Yeah, that was a really honestly.
Let me be your shelter.
Come on, sing it, baby.
Wait, never leave you.
Never leave you all alone.
Never leave you all alone. I can be the one to call. Something like that. I don't know. Normally I just kind of just go with it.
You know what? The whole podcast world is welcome for that. That was just you're just all so welcome. I tell you what, though, I really like Chad Pender's making some moves with the lineup, tweaking some stuff. You can see him making some really conscious decisions with the lineup, with the batting order, and to me, I see the fruits of it. I see what he's doing. Tough week for our boy Ryan last week.
Ryan
Burrows.
Yeah.
Feels so bad
Ryan,
for that guy,
I love
man.
you, buddy.
Tough week for him.
Yeah, tough week for the Ducks. But you know what?
Has nothing to do with coming on the podcast. I'm going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I had people say, hey, podcast curse? Joel's like, Trev, should I come on? I'm like, no, we're fine, dude. We're fine. We got a good track record, all right?
Yeah, think about Matt
Hogan.
Matt
come
Hogan.
On, man.
We were gonna sit on that one forever.
Guy played AA baseball like a couple weeks after we had him on the pod.
That's
right.
That's right.
Other than that, we have no success. I'm just kidding. No, we have tons of success stories. And but yeah, it was a tough week. But he'll bounce back. He's got such a good head on his shoulders,
does, man.
And even whenever we finished doing last week's pod, we sat in my car when I drove him back to his place. We sat there for like 15 minutes, and we just kind of chatted about life. And he was telling me what all the things he's been going through, and things he didn't exactly want to share on the pod. But again, such a great guy. So excited to want to see him, of course, to continue to flourish. And he's a guy who did so well last year during the playoff run as well.
Yes.
And he really ticked it up a notch in the playoff run. But just really excited to hopefully see him start to see some green numbers.
Yeah, it's gonna happen when you have a guy like him who has, plus. I think he's gonna be fine. It's just baseball, as we talked about it last week. It's a fickle friend, But I'm excited. I think that the Ballers, even though starting off 500 through the first few weeks of the season, not what we're used to from last year, but it's a different team. That's minor league baseball, different team, different year, and it changes from year to year. And that's what we have to deal with right now. And then with us being in low A, we also lose our guys when they start playing well.
Correct.
And so that's a tough thing about being a fan here in Kannapolis.
But hey, you're going to Myrtle Beach, though. I heard we had a lot of fans going to Myrtle Beach. By a lot of fans,
awesome.
I mean your boy Trevor's going.
Hey.
Me and my whole entire fam, we're going to make a trip of it. It was supposed to be a creative trip with me, Rolf, and Joel, and also Natalie. But Natalie decided to do a few other things, and then now my family, they found out I was going, and I have aunts and uncles up there. They're down there. They're like, hey, let's just make it a family trip. So now I haven't seen the family in a while. So now it's gonna be
that's great, man. I think that's gonna be. I'm not jealous at all.
Yeah.
My wife is also going out of town this weekend, leaving me at home alone. Not jealous at all.
Oh wow.
I'm just kidding. She's gonna have a great time. She's going to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and
girls' weekend.
Girls' weekend, and
is it a bachelor party, bachelorette, or is it just girls' weekend?
Just a girls' weekend. And
sometimes you need that getaway, dude.
And your boys at home watching the dogs, bro.
Come on, and you're a dog, man. So dogs watching dog. Come on,
dogs watching dogs. Let's go. No, but yeah. So that's cool. I'm glad you guys are going to get to go down there and see the Ballers in Dirty Myrtle.
Yeah, good old Dirty Myrtle Beach, baby. I haven't really had too much time to go down there lately, and I enjoy it. Although I think I'm pretty sure Myrtle Beach just got voted one of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America.
Seriously?
But it's okay. I mean, hey, it's Dirty Myrtle for a reason. So you just don't go to Myrtle. You just stay in North Myrtle. You go to the game, and then
dude, Monk's Corner's cool. Polly's Island's cool.
Yeah, Mike's Corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Polly's Island, bro. There's a really good seafood steakhouse place down there. I can't remember the name of it. We went when I was with Jenna and her parents, and I remember we waited for an hour to eat there, but it was delicious.
Dude, if you go to Myrtle Beach and you don't wait an hour, dude, you go to that big crab place. Dude, you could go to one of the local corner stores and wait an hour for a pack of gum, and you're like, bro, what are we doing? It's Myrtle Beach right there.
That's right.
And you take their lights are awful down there. You'll sit with that left turn little signal on for an hour, too.
And it's not even the nicest beach, bro.
Yeah, but yes, I agree. I love North Myrtle Beach. That and Cherry Grove, I think, are awesome. Yeah, they're dirty, they're grimy. There's too much going on.
Yeah,
there's cops flying by. I just love it, man. I just think it's so much fun, man. Again, it's like pizza, bro. You're at the beach. It's it's good pizza, cold pizza, bad pizza. It doesn't matter. It's pizza.
That's
the
right.
beach is the beach. You're at the beach, right? If you get
shot,
shot, though, then you're not.
I'm not going to argue with that, sir. That's solid. That's solid. Well, Trevor, man, I think they've heard enough from us, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's about time to get to the meat of this show today. And, man, we got a cool one. You want to talk about who's coming on?
Yeah, we got Joel Johnson coming on the show. And Joel, again, good friend of mine, friend of the pod. He listens to the pod a decent amount.
Let's go.
He's been wanting to get on the pod. Last year, we were not able to get him on the pod to discuss the 30th anniversary logo. But this year, I think is perfect because he designed basically all the Cannonballers' favorites, jerseys, the hats. Again, 30th logo from last year. So much more in the future, and awesome, bright mind in the game of baseball. So let's go and welcome on the pod, Joel Johnson. Come on in, Joel. Yes, Jordan, a friend of the pod indeed. It's our boy JJ. I've never called
Joel,
you that.
Welcome, buddy.
That is an awful nickname. Has anyone ever called you JJ?
My sophomore year of high school, my world history teacher. Shout out to Mr. Rossi. I don't know where you're out in the world because I'm from Colorado, so he's probably. I know he retired like 4 years ago, so he's probably living it up in retirement. But shout out to Mr. Rossi. He called me JJ, and besides my dad, that was the only person that ever gave me a nickname.
Did you like it, or did you cringe whenever you heard JJ?
So I was really busy with a bunch of stuff in high school all the time, and by the time I got to my world history class, it was like right after lunch, so I was crashing out into a food coma, and I have this innate ability to intake information while I sleep so I can hear what people are saying and, like, you know, breathe it in and learn. So he was really cool about it. So the only time I ever got to hear myself called JJ was when he would tap me on the head with a plastic lightsaber and be like, JJ, what did I say? And I'd repeat it back to him. He'd be like, good, go back to sleep.
What?
So Joel, I know that you've been here listening outside. So give us an answer about this Stetson question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Stetson University, who, by the way, has like one of my favorite logos in college sports, like really well done and just genius. They were called D-Land Academy in D-Land, Florida. And then John B. Stetson, the inventor of the Stetson hat, was a donor to the university for years. And then they put him on the board of trustees. And then eventually he just kind became, you know, in charge of the university, so it's named after him.
The Hatters.
So that's why they're the Hatters.
That's pretty cool.
I love it, man. It is fun. It's a very cool. And for you to say that you really like someone else's logo, I don't hear those words come out of your mouth.
I was going to say,
often.
Joel doesn't say he likes stuff a lot.
Because you are, again, you're almost a Simon Cowell, I would say, of like the art form. Just because, again, you have a very high standard whenever it comes to logos. But again, we're going to talk about logos a little bit later. But we can talk about our stuff now. Dude, you're repping right now, rocking the Axolotls de Canapolis, which is awesome. What kind of colors do we got, dude? I mean, I know what they actually are, but what are they to the peeps?
You mean like what do they represent, or
no? I guess yeah. Do they represent anything? So again, the Axolotls de Canapolis is going to be our Copa brand, and it's got the A on the left sleeve right here.
Looks so good.
What is that called
That A logo is like my favorite side logo we have right now.
What is that called? So it's not called a side logo. What is it called?
an alternate logo?
So it's just an alternate logo.
Just an alternate logo.
The A for the Axolotls, and then we got the Axolotls de Canapolis. It's got pink, and then is that lime green?
Yeah, or I guess the Seahawks would call it a shade of green, action green. But
Let's go.
And then Jordan is a huge Seahawks guy.
He knows.
So
man.
wait, and then of course we have the navy-ish, right? What is that?
yeah.
Is it navy?
This is just navy blue. I looked into the exact shade color code wise that the Mariners use because I think they have a nice balance in between like too light of a navy, but
for sure
so dark that it looks black like the Yankees. So
yeah.
I was like, need something in between, so I went with their exact shade for that. Just in terms of colors, though, it's like Copa. If you look historically at what minor league teams have done, it celebrates Hispanic heritage, and Hispanic culture and festivals are known for color and flash. So I knew that there had to be bright colors, but I didn't want the entire jersey to just be pink or green and crazy and in your face and have everybody not want to wear it. So had to, create that contrast. And yeah, 2 shades of pink in it just because typically, there's all kinds of different variations of colors in axolotls, but the typical one people think of that's most common is a light pink one with like bright pink gills and bright pink frills on the back of their tail, that kind of stuff. So it was just like 2 shades of pink, and then the green, I just, ever since I was a kid, especially when I saw it on the Seahawks and stuff and Timberwolves, I've loved the shade of green. I think it goes well with navy, and then the teal is actually a nod to me since I was designing it because that's my favorite color in the world. So I was like, I got to get some teal in there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear a funny story about me and the Axolotl name?
Oh, Lord. Do you know how to spell it without looking at the paper?
No, I don't. I don't at all. I can. It's probably easier to spell Axolotl than Axolotl.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I actually misspelled. I definitely misspelled Axolotl whenever I was typing up our run a show. Yeah. And then I spelled Axolotls correct. So, yeah, you are right with that. All right, what's your story?
So I thought that axolotls were fictional animals. Like, genuinely did. Like, I thought they were like Mexican folklore, like a chupacabra.
Did you feel like a dummy?
Yeah, when I found out that they were real.
See, I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad take, though. And the only reason I say that is because whenever he said, hey, we're the Axolotls de Canapolis, I'm like, what is that? And then we're like, oh, this is Axolotl. I'm like, isn't axolotl Spanish? No, that's the English. That's the word of the animal.
I never heard of an axolotl.
Yeah.
And my wife who studied agricultural science at NC State, she's like, "You've never heard of an axolotl?" And I was like, "No."
That's a tough scene going back home.
I know. I was like, "What?" And she thought it was hilarious. Like I made her laugh so hard. She was like, "You thought it was like a chupacabra?"
Wait, well, what's a chupacabra?
It's like a Mexican folklore animal,
Is it like a cobra?
Kind of like Day of the Dead type of stuff. Am I right, Rolf? Is it associated with Day of the Dead? Yeah.
Wow.
Like afterlife, kind of Mexican afterlife kind of thing. You
okay.
know? And I was like, wow, man, I feel really dumb now that I was like.
I bet you 6 or 7 of 10 people listening to this right now, before this conversation or before we came out with it, they're like, I don't know if I knew exactly what an axolotl was.
Right.
I would think, unless they have a kid. If you have a kid who's 5 to 10 years old.
Yeah, into Minecraft, apparently. You know?
So wait, Joel, that's a great segue into why did you pick an axolotl?
So when I first moved here from Colorado and started working on some stuff with the Cannonballers, trying to up the uniform game and that's a terrible way to say that. English, Joel.
That's a Colorado way to say it.
Get
right
us
there.
back into the Copa initiative.
Get us gooder.
Yeah, get us gooder.
Man,
I'm trying to make us look the goodest we've ever been.
Yeah, hey, you're coming a part of Kannapolis. I mean, so well already.
More gooder, baby.
More gooder.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, sorry.
Dale Earnhardt race is more gooder than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, redo that statement right there. Whatever it was. Redo it.
Yeah, so trying to get us back into the Copa initiative, it started in minor league baseball as a way to honor the impact that Hispanic players and Hispanic culture has had on growing the game of baseball. First year, I believe, was 2018, and the Kannapolis Intimidators back in the day had
Los Rapidos.
the Rapidos.
Los Rapidos.
Ultimately, the first one got a cease and desist because it
From
looked exactly like University of
UTSA,
UTSA. And then they redid it and then did a new version of the Rapidos for one more season. And then apparently some Hispanic season ticket holders and fans that had been going to games made it known that Rapidos doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't represent. It just means like go fast. It doesn't mean, and everybody thought it was like, it meant speed. And so like it didn't resonate with people. So it got scrapped. And so when I got here trying to bring us back into the Copa initiative, I worked with Miss Sandra over at El Puente Hispano in Concord. And we hopped on a phone call and talking about ideas for what could work. And she was kind of stumped too. She's like, there's not really a lot that stands out to me about Hispanic culture that correlates with Hispanic culture in Kannapolis. And then she said a quote somewhere along the lines of, the beautiful thing about being Hispanic in the Kannapolis Concord area is that you don't have to abandon or hide your Hispanic heritage in order to be welcomed and adapt into American heritage and traditions and customs. And so when I got back to the drawing board, I just kind of hit Google and I typed in like iconic or important aspects of Hispanic cultures, found a website that broke it down by countries. And when I was reading through Mexico, it listed some iconic animals in their culture's history and flowers, different things like that. And under animals, it said wolves were important. The eagle was important, which is on their flag in Mexico. And it gave a little description of each type of animal and why they're important. And then it said axolotl, and it said axolotls are the only amphibious creature that doesn't have to abandon its aquatic traits in order to adapt land traits to live on both land and water. So I was like, perfect little metaphor for what Sandra said about the Hispanic community here in Kannapolis. And cool. This animal, it had a nice little tie. And then I came to find out that the axolotl is endangered, and there's a lot of work being done to try and keep their population up and bring them back to, healthy levels of population out there. And I was like, there's really something here that we can bring attention to, and it is more than just creating a funny logo for the sake of a cash grab.
Yeah, and then a lot of people, and Jordan, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of teams, they will outsource this to a company, like a brand company, and they'll be like, hey, I want you to come up with our team logo, right? Would that be, of course, we did that with the Kannapolis Cannonballs.
Right,
we went to Dan Simon from Studio Simon, and we ended up having to hire somebody. we didn't have to hire somebody. Well, technically we did hire you, but we hired you as a full-time person, and then you just decide. So what pride did you have in creating that and just knowing, and how hard is that just creating it out of thin air and not just saying, hey, like, again, a lot of people are like, hey, we're going to pay you $100,000 to create this. We didn't have to do that for you. Although, I wish we would have gave you $100,000.
Hey, if you want to give me $100,000 for this, I'm not going to say no to that.
But what is it? How does that even come to your mind, bro?
Well, so like you said, a lot of people outsource and have to hire professional designers to get the higher quality. This is something I want to do outside of the front office realm full time at some point in my life, and kind of branch out to where like Dan Simon is, Full Count Studios. If you want to hire me, any MILB teams out there, at Full Count Studios on Instagram. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
So I want to do that. You know, right now the goal is just to start getting my stuff out there and get attention, and then, you know, have some teams start hiring me while I'm doing this. And then if I can get it to a point where someday that's the full-time gig, I want to move into that. So I started as a graphic designer, leaning into branding and logo design, and then as time went on, got into the other realm of creating marketing material, social media graphics, all that kind of stuff. And now I just kind of collide the both of them together in one world. And so it works out for me, and it worked out for the Cannonballers that they had somebody on staff who can do that branding quality that you see in minor league baseball rather than having to outsource to somebody. And however, though, on a lot of stuff, like with the Cannonballers name, there's a lot of input from the client and the teams that will come to you with the name ideas, and then you just kind of have to take the name idea and come up with visual representations. In this case, I was kind of given like, hey, we need an idea, come up with everything. So that's a lot different than the way it's usually done. But so
I don't know if I would be able to take that, like a picture of an axolotl that people are probably Googling right now, and come up with that. How the heck did you do that?
Years of training.
Like, that is crazy. Like the attention of detail that you have in the hat, the colors, like let me see, like the smile as well. That's kind of on it. Is that a smile that we kind of see as well with the little teal?
It's cool, man.
Like that is.
So there's a vibe. There's a aesthetic and a certain look to minor league logos. You're gonna look at them and they're gonna be more on the childish, kid side, cartoony fun, because they want to grab the attention of younger generations and families and have more of a fun look than you would see like on Jordan's hat with the KCB. That's meant to look like the White Sox, and they're going to have a classic American, just very traditional look to Major League Baseball. And then college kind of has a little mesh of the both. And so there's just different vibes to whatever realm you're in. And so for minor league baseball, creating this, I was like, you got to go with something fun, especially with the colors I had picked out and the names. Like, it just lends itself to being goofy and cute and smiley. And so, you know, there's ways to approach it. I approached it with the minor league mind of, okay, I got to create something that gets that happy, fun emotion across, not the serious, intense tone you would look for if you're designing a college logo. So just kind of lent itself to it and came up with this fun little guy on the hat. I've had some people asking us, and we've had some people asking in the team store if the Axolotl has a name. I personally think his name needs to be Axel, and then last name Ottle, Axolotl, or just call him Axie. I don't care.
Ooh.
I like it. I think he needs a name though.
I kind of like Axie.
I'm gonna drop it right here, right now on this podcast, because that way we get out to the people, and I think that he needs a name, and I think you call him Axolotl and then call him Axie for short.
Yeah,
I like that. And then hopefully it gets so big where next year, if we do so well, then hopefully next year we get a mascot and we play because there's some teams, Jordan. I don't know if you know. Well, I barely even know. I know he definitely has done his research. They'll do like this Copa identity has gotten so popular with their fans. They'll do it once a week now. Isn't that thing?
Awesome. Yeah.
There's multiple teams that do it, and then there's some teams only do it like once a year or maybe 3 times a year. But I think we're doing it 4 this year. We're doing a giveaway as well, a Luchador mask giveaway, which I'm so stoked about. We're gonna make Jordan do the PA and the Luchador mask, and then I'm gonna be in that too. But are there any other teams in minor league baseball that you're like, man, they have an awesome Copa identity that you didn't even take inspiration from? You're just a big fan of?
Well, back to the Luchador mask. On that night, we need to make sure that we get a replacement table for you for On the Diamond, because I'm definitely putting the Luchador mask on in my best Nacho Libre impression, and I'm going to be falling Bill's Mafia style right through that table, baby.
Do it! From the Kinetic Club.
Send me a piece of that corn for later, okay?
Sometimes I wear stretchy pants.
It's for fun.
It's for fun.
I need to borrow some sways.
That made me so good. Can we play that post game?
Yes. Oh.
Sorry.
We'll have
Keep
Rolf
going.
go in and color correct everything to look like our colors, and
Thanks,
it'll be
Rolf.
cool.
We're signing Rolf up for a lot.
Yeah, Rolf, you're going to do a lot of work.
I ate some grass. I used my hands to wipe my tears. Encarnacion. Yes. Great movie.
I love
I love
But yeah,
that movie.
Copa wise though, so I'm a Rockies fan. I'm from Colorado, and my father-in-law lived in Albuquerque for 4 years, and over those 4 years, he moved down there right before I started dating my wife, and so I was lucky enough to go twice a year for those 4 years to check out Albuquerque and see it. It's a really cool, fun place. And we would go to Isotopes games, and that first year he lived there was the first year of the Mariachis, which from then has just become its own thing. So I think they honestly could rebrand the whole team from Isotopes to Mariachis, and their fans would be completely fine with it because
cool, yeah.
they support it so much. Their ballpark is absolutely loaded with people when they do it, and they have mariachi bands out. They have I saw a video last year where they had a guy out in full Dia de los Muertos style makeup and garb, and he had stilts on. He was walking around the ballpark and was like 8.5 feet tall on these stilts, and they do it up. They got a really cool theme, and it's gotten so big now that they have minor league baseball club services. We have a limit on certain things, so we are allowed up to 3 Copa hats and 2 Copa jerseys. So whether that's we did Axolotls and came up with a second one to go along with Ajolotes and created a secondary identity for Copa, or if we just created 3 Copa hats and 2 Copa jerseys related to all this, we could do that. And so for the Mariachis, they have their regular look, they have an alternate hat, and then for their second jersey and third hat, they have a Cinco de Mayo / if you've been out to New Mexico, they put chili on everything, and you go to a restaurant, it's like you could be ordering pizza or cereal, and they're like, all right, how do you want the chili on that?
No onions in your chili.
And so-
I ordered cereal.
So you got green and you got red, and if you want both, you say Christmas. And so they have their Christmas chili inspired. So the hat is green with red bill and button and the Mariachis logo, and usually they're black and teal, and they recolor it into green, black, and red. And then they have a black jersey where the pinstripes alternate green and red, but they're made out of little chili pepper illustrations that go down it. So that's their special Cinco de Mayo jersey they wear for Copa, and I absolutely love that. I own the hat. So
Albuquerque's you're the one you're like, they're doing it right.
I mean, and they're AAA to my Rockies, so that partially probably plays into why I love them so much, but I love their Copa. I love Greenvilles. They are, I don't remember how to say it in Spanish, but it translates to River Frogs of Greenville. And so the Drive have a really cool one, this little river frog, and I went and saw them last year, the only Drive game I've been to so far, and they were wearing the Copa, and on their board, since they're the River Frogs, every headshot for the visiting players when they came up to bat was a picture of a different famous frog. So they had like Kermit and Michigan J Frog.
Oh, I love that.
And then the little frog thing from like Hello Kitty or whatever was up there. Yeah, they had all those different ones, and I loved it.
Man, so let's jump off of the Copa and jump into the Southside swag here.
Yeah.
So if you guys can see this beautiful hat I'm wearing, Joel designed this hat, obviously, like you said, to look like the White Sox. Our Southside Sunday jerseys, man, players dig them. Players want to wear them more than just Sundays.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to.
Yeah.
They've been told that.
They
I guarantee you they'll probably want to.
They want to wear them more than just Sundays, man. I think it's awesome. It speaks into, your obviously talent in design, but I want to talk about the more personal side of it. You were kind of sharing with me that when you saw the guys on the field in your design, like your first full on, this is the full jersey design, that it made you feel pretty emotional, man. And tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've, before I got this job and moved out here, I was doing some freelance stuff to make extra money, and I was doing stuff through the clink room. So I've had success seeing my logos. I don't remember the number, but I kind of just threw out feedback on my Instagram one time, like, tell me if you own one of my hats and where you're from. And I have I think it's 12 total countries out there in the world where somebody owns one of my hats. So that's kind of cool. So I've had success in other realms, but I've never seen something I've designed worn by a professional team on a professional field. It's always been summer collegiate wood bat stuff or independent men's league teams or, things like that. And Clink Room, it's cool, but it's not worn in a game. It's just sold for retail purposes. So
what's Clink Room? Do you mind describing that?
So, Brandios, who's one of the big names in minor league sports branding, they do almost all they did the mariachis. Or no, they didn't do the mariachis, but they do almost all the teams you could think of. They did the Storm Chasers logos, and they're involved in the documentary that they made about the Storm Chasers and everything out in Omaha. And they just big name, and so they started during COVID. They brought back this thing they used to do called Clink Room, where designers can submit their logos for fictitious. It started out as fictitious teams, ideas for what a fake minor league team could be with a fun name, goofy logos, and then it's kind of evolved from there to just artistic hats, full on art pieces. I have 21 hats through that. So the way it works is you submit your design, you submit it by using a hashtag and tagging them on social media. They go through and you have to use their template. They find the posts you make, they take that, and then they put it up every Monday. They do Monday morning critiques, and then people go in and vote. And they can say oh, I really love this one, but if it was red instead, I think I'd like it more. And then they take that feedback. And if there's enough mention and votes and people like it enough, because they'll put it on in their stories and you can vote yes or no on whether it should get put to production. And then if people like it enough, they go ahead and they let you know, hey, we're going to put this through to production. Here's a contract. You sign. You get royalties from certain sales going forward and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they go through the legwork to work with New Era and put it out there and sell it.
So you have 21?
Yeah.
I didn't freaking know that.
Yep.
We're learning stuff.
Dude,
and,
that is so cool. Keep going.
And one of them, so it's kind of like having it on a pro field. But one of them, I was watching Pawn Stars one day, and somebody said the phrase "dead presidents," and it clicked in my head, and immediately I just saw the logo of George Washington, but with a skeleton face, looking like he's from the dollar bill, and I was like, that would make a great hat, just called the Dead Presidents. So I put it out, ended up becoming, I had a record-breaking hat before that, and then that one broke that record, and then after I had a hat called the Rocket Pops that broke that record, and
that one's cool.
So so they were huge. A lot of money that they made me. It's how I was able to afford the ring when I proposed to my wife.
Let's go.
But so Dead Presidents ended up. Brandios was working with the Fredericksburg Nationals, who are in the Carolina League with us, and may or may not have defeated us in a championship series.
Screw them, man.
We don't have to talk about that.
Hate them.
This did not come from me. This is all Trevor Will. I do not endorse this message. So they were working with Brandios to design their Copa. I think it's called Funadores. And they wanted, since their whole branding is themed around George Washington, because they're the Fredericksburg Nationals, they have a logo of George Washington swinging an axe like a baseball bat. So we want to do something with George Washington, but we want it to be like a Dia de los Muertos sugar skull version of him from the dollar bill. And then Brandios was kind of like, well, actually, there's a logo out there that we've already worked with somebody on, similar, so let's talk with him. So they ended up paying me a bunch of money for the rights to it so that they could create something similar for the Fredericksburg Nationals. So it's there's a logo out there inspired by my logo that exists on the field, but it's not exactly my logo. So until the KCB, I had never seen anything that I had designed actually worn by a professional level team out on a professional level field. So yeah. End of the day, that first Southside Sunday, I came up to the press box and I told everybody, I was like, there are a lot of moments today, especially when I heard Mikey Kane after his Gatorade bath saying that he just felt great and that he felt like a big leaguer and that he loved the jersey. It just kind of hit home because I was like, I really created something here. So
and we won. That was our first win, which was nice. And dude, can you tell everybody real quick about because again, for us and a lot of people like myself who have no clue how jersey making works and there's a process to it, and then it doesn't just happen. You designed this jersey. This was the first thing you ever designed with the Kannapolis Cannonballers.
Yeah, so I was sitting in Fort Collins, Colorado. I got the email from the Cannonballers offering me the job to come be the graphic designer here with the team. And I had already had this idea popping in my head. There's a trend in a lot of teams out there in minor league baseball that will honor their affiliation with their parent club by creating an alternate uniform that they wear one day per week that either takes their regular branding and recolors it to their parent club's coloring, or they'll create all new logos that looks like, like for example, the Mudcats have a Brewers themed one where it's just their logo, but it's put in navy blue and yellow.
Yeah.
So first thing I did after I got that and celebrated with my wife and was like, hey, we got to pack up our whole house and move all the way across the country.
We take 29 hours.
Yeah. 3 days of driving, but it's okay. I got to stop at a Royals game and I got to see St. Louis. So it was kind of cool. Yeah. I sat down and I had already had this idea in my head while I was interviewing for the job. And I was like, they need a logo that looks like the White Sox. And it just kind of lent itself to happening because SOX on the Sox hat, 3 letters, the initials for the Cannonballers, how everybody refers to them around here, KCB. So I created a nice K. I took the C. I can't take credit for the look of the C because I took that directly from the City Connect to the White Sox, but I knew I had to. I was like, it's a great looking C, and it already exists in something from their branding. Yep. It's a great little tie-in right in the middle there. And so sat down and I drew like probably 12 or 13 different versions of a K, a couple different versions of a B that looks like that black letter style font, and went in and pieced it together, created the whole thing, made a jersey mock-up, and I was like, all right, now start packing. And then I didn't start for another month, so that was the first thing I ever did.
I remember we were in the press box and you're like, hey, I want to show you something.
Yeah.
And this was like 2 years ago, before we even had like a nod that this was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Joel's like, hey, I want to show you this. And he showed it to me and Chris up there in our side of the press box, and I was like, this is cool. Like,
yeah. It's
just like I immediately was like, we have to do this.
Yeah.
You know, like
I don't know how this is gonna work.
Yeah,
but yeah.
this
in my
has to
head
happen.
the whole time I'm like,
and even Joel in the moment still didn't even know if it was going to get a go ahead.
No, I mean, no, it was in production. I just couldn't tell anybody.
Oh, you stinker!
Even better, because again,
you stinker.
So you have to put these jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a month before or 6 months before.
So the Southside Sunday hat debuted for the first time on April 6th. Yeah, April 6th of 2025. I had to submit it to minor league baseball on November 4th of 2023.
Wow.
So it's a long process because they got to get licensing. They got to make sure that the logos and the names and everything get copyrighted. And then from there, it's off to New Era and the different jersey companies where they create digitizations of logos, things like that, to create their embroidery files. They got to make sure they create sample versions of the hats that come out to us. We approve the colors used on the materials and the threads and everything. So it's a long process. So I've known since November of 23 that this is happening. And so it was like
awesome.
Years and like a year and a half worth of anticipation finally coming true right there.
Wow.
I have a funny question for you. Just for those that don't know, Joel is also like an avid barbecuer.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You know, loves to work on the grill, smoke some stuff. Is there like a work ethic comparison to smoking a good piece of meat low and slow to creating the KCB Southside Sundays slow and long process? Like does it kind of help like with your
so the fun,
that's a lot of patience, bro.
The fun
Joel
thing
doesn't have a lot of patience, so
that's a lot of patience, man.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So actually it's like doing my job, it's both opposite ends of the spectrum depending on what it is. Like if it's graphic design work for social media, marketing, getting stuff out, like especially when we made it to the championship, that was like I immediately had to sit and turn around everything and start creating playoff graphics and stuff. So it's like on that end, it's just like bam, get it done, go fast. But then with like logo creation, stuff like that, it is like barbecue because, you know, if I throw a rack of ribs on my smoker, come out, see how they're doing, I'm like, it's getting a little dry on this side. Got to, squirt it down with some apple juice, make sure that it's going through the process. And same with logos. I'll create something, draw out tons of sketches, and that's like the prep work for getting the ribs ready. And then when I start creating it digitally, I'll look at it and I'll step away and let it have its 30 minutes, come back to it and be like, yeah, no, I hate this, and then restart some parts. And
he's done that multiple times. With like, Trevor, you know what I told you, and I liked it, and you said you liked it. He goes, I hate it now. Like, I just scratched the whole thing.
Honestly, I think that's just part of being an artist. I think every artist out there in the world goes to the same thing. You start by any graphic I've done, like even our final score graphics and stuff that go out every day. When I initially made the templates of how they were going to look for the year, I was like, I love this. And now every night when they get posted, I'm like, I hate the way that looks.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just get to a point where you're like, I hate everything I do. I don't hate the KCB. I don't hate the Axolotl. And I don't hate the alternate logo or this jersey or anything, but a lot of stuff that I've done, I look at it and I'm like, wow, I hate this now.
Man, well, I tell you, dude, just from like a fan's point of view, people are buying the dickens out of them. And it's awesome.
Did people say that in Colorado? Buying the dickens out of that.
No, my grandpa probably did, but he's from Missouri.
That's what we say here in Ktown.
Yeah.
They are that, and dude, that perfect segue real quick into the red jerseys.
Yeah.
So again, you didn't come up with the Kannapolis logo, the Kannapolis K or anything like that, but what was the inspiration of like, hey, we need a red jersey?
Yeah, so on National Jersey Day, which I think is like October, something like that, October in 2023, some stuff went up on the story on Instagram for the KCB account that was like, hey, what do you like about our jerseys? What don't you like? What would you like to see? And I sat and I went through the answers and I compiled like, what did we get the most answers of? What did we get the least? To obviously not consider, because if there's not a big public outcry for something, you don't want to create something that might not sell. So I sat down and looked at what everything was, and the number one thing we got was red. Like some variation of you guys need a red hat, or you guys need a red jersey, or people are like, create a red hat and jersey. So I sat down and I was like, well, that needs to happen. The second most mentioned thing was a powder blue jersey.
Powder blue.
Still working on Matt Millward on that one.
Listen. I can speak for all of the Talking Ballers family.
Mm-hmm.
I feel confident in this.
Mm-hmm.
We would look really sick in powder blues.
Yeah.
Top and bottoms.
Top and bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
Not just powder blue tops. We want the bottoms, too.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So,
Here, second.
yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, so let's do powder blue. Let's go for it. But that was the
a
second.
powder blue that Joel designs.
Yes.
That's the stipulation.
Well, my goal with that, the way I've been looking at it, is I think we need to do a kind of a city connect.
Oh.
But I want to approach it as a faux back, kind of because the whole reason we're called the Cannonballers, the whole reason that this town exists is Cannon Mills, Charlie Cannon, all this deep-rooted history with mills and cotton
towels,
production, towels, all these things. I want to create a almost City Connect style jersey that honors the past of the textile mills and stuff like that, that leans into a very retro, like 50s looking vibe
Joel
to it.
thinking of Towel City powder blue.
So you're saying this, but just like you lied to, you didn't lie. Just like you stretched the truth to Joel about the KCB.
Some information.
I mean, this could be something that was a year or two last year that this was going through this man's mind. I guess we'll never know, right?
I'm still working on Matt Millward on that one.
Yeah, that's our boss, man.
I got to get him on board with that.
But it sounds like the people
part of it was people wanted to see how New Jersey sales went this year once they dropped.
Red was the biggest.
And they're selling amazing, so let's go ahead and do it.
Let's go.
So powder blue is the second next most mentioned thing, and I'm still working on that. And the third was Copa. People asking to bring back Copa, create something new. So that and the red were my two goals. With the red, it kind of became apparent, looking, and I see it up there on Jordan's shelves right here. Piedmont Phillies all the way through now.
Yeah.
It was Phillies, and then Bull Weevil starting 96 to 2000, Intimidators from 2001 through 2019, now Cannonballers. Every single one of those names used red in their branding. So I was like, something about Kannapolis baseball always leaned into red, so I want to make the red jersey about Kannapolis. So it just became obvious. Don't put Boomer on the hat. Don't put CB on the hat. Don't do anything that has anything to do with the Cannonballers part of the name, and just lean into Kannapolis. So we got the white script on the front. It's our Kannapolis script that has only been seen on the road jerseys until now. That they never wear. So it's never been seen.
Yeah. So the grays, real quick, guys, we had gray bottoms and gray tops, and the gray tops was a Kannapolis. It looked like a cool jersey, but whenever you matched it up with the gray bottoms, the grays were off, and then the players and coaches did not like that. So we only wore them like twice ever. Fun fact, our softball team that we do for the front office, we've worn them more than the actual team itself over the past 5 years. But please continue. So we basically saw the Kannapolis script, but no one ever actually saw it unless you were playing softball.
If you walked into our team store and you went over and purchased a road jersey, then you've seen the Kannapolis script. But if you've ever been at a road game in Myrtle Beach, in Fredericksburg, wherever, you've probably only seen the Blue Ballers jersey or the Boll Weevils, which we got in trouble for wearing. So that was also part of the goal, was we were trying to create more options that they could take on the road and, stop wearing the Boll Weevils and getting people emailing me. So, so leaned into the red and then put the Kannapolis script across the front, and then we have that really cool K logo. It's been on some T-shirts and stuff in the team store, and it's a nice little alternate logo option we could have been using, and it's never been on anything. So I was like, I'm throwing it on the hat, and we're just going to make this thing happen, and we're going to lean into it, call it the 4 Ktown red jerseys, or just Ktown red is how we refer to it typically. But the whole idea behind it was like, this is for Ktown. When we wear the red on Saturday, this is us saying like, hey, we're here playing for you. This is all about the community. So.
Like red brick, red dirt, the red on the Swanee, red on the gym theater, red for cheer. Hey, come on, friend.
Let's go.
Yeah, man of the pod right there. There's just so many red, like, again, the Patterson Farm thing that we have going on. There's just so much red around. And then, of course, all the red, like you said, back in the day as well. So, again,
Red
I know
Cannon Mills sign.
Yeah, red Cannon Mills. Yeah, that's very true. So I know we've talked about the jerseys that you've created. I think we've already talked about some of your favorite jersey hat combinations as well. Are there, let's see, I don't know.
I know a favorite hat jersey combination for the players, and that's the red on red.
Red on red.
We've created a monster. Yesterday. We've created a monster because last week, so the starting pitchers, for those who don't know, typically in baseball, Skip goes to the starting pitcher, says, hey, what unis we're wearing today.
And by Skip, he means Skipper, a.k.a. Chad Pinder.
Yeah, Chad Pinder goes to them and says, hey, what are we doing? And this year it's my goal to have graphics out that tell people ahead of time what uniform to expect so you can plan your outfits accordingly, that kind of stuff. And so I created a poster that shows all the acceptable and unacceptable combinations so that we're not getting in trouble with the league and stuff. And we've had to explain to a couple pitchers now, like, hey, the red on red, you can wear that all you want on the road, but at home, it's Saturday only, red on red. You can wear the red hat on the white other days. You can wear the blue and red hat on the red jersey every other day if you wanted, but you got to save the red on red for Saturdays when it comes to the home crowd. So what did they do? They go out and they wear the red on red like almost every game on the road. And we've created a monster.
I was like, Trev, that's all they want to do.
They wear the red hat with the white jersey if they want to go with the white look. And I'm like, we created a monster. All they want to do is wear this red.
And then we were asked, they're like, one of the Latin players, he doesn't know any English. He's like, why? And then he wanted to wear, I think it was the pinstripe or the red on red. He's like, why can't I do it? And they were trying to tell him, and he like wasn't understanding. They're like, you cannot. Like they're basically going to go get the jersey, throw it in the trash, and be like, all right, now pick from these.
Yeah, I think if we allowed them to wear the pinstripes whenever they wanted, that's the only jersey that would beat the red. They'd probably wear that all the time.
Yeah,
they'd probably try to wear white on the road and get in trouble.
Man, I think you do such a great job, Joel. And
Thank you, sir.
I thoroughly have enjoyed getting to know you and having you around the press box. It's awesome to know, like, you kind of have a little desk right behind me where I sit, which is kind of cool.
Do you actually like it or no?
Yeah, I do, man.
Okay, good.
It's cool. Like, it's nice. It's nice because Joel will come in there, like, because most of the time Joel's like walking around doing social media stuff or graphic stuff, and like, you guys see on social media, like when we have like a big home run, like Joel's the guy that's posting that stuff through, what is it, Diamond Link?
Yep, Diamond. Go in there. Diamond, cut it up, and then.
Yeah.
Throw it up on social so people can see Braden Montgomery just murdering a baseball for the 8th time this week.
It's cool. It's cool, man. And like, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that go into, all the stuff and the stuff that goes out from the team that Joel's a part of, and it's pretty cool. So, man, this has been a really fun episode. I think we could keep going.
I do want to ask you guys one thing before we go.
Oh.
Hats. Y'all are big hat guys.
Oh yeah.
Y'all, but this could be what we end on, because I know we've already been talking for probably over an hour. Was that where we're at, Jordan? Something
just
like that?
Shy, yeah.
Just shy of over an hour. You guys are huge hat guys. I want to just rattle off a few things. Jordan, how many hats do you think you have?
Are we talking fitted or just overall?
You can say overall.
Oh man, too many.
Give me like 50, 200, 100, 500. 25.
I would say between 50 and 75.
50 and 75. Joel, big hat. Yeah. Joel, big hat guy. How many you got?
In the 900s.
Oh my goodness.
Guys, I'm telling you, has one of the most impressive hat collections.
He must have like a hat room.
He does.
Yeah, I have a man cave room.
I just went to his house the other day for the first time to get my hair cut from his awesome wife.
Like all hats.
Shout out Kelly. She's awesome.
Sambuco Barbershop. Go get your hair cut and drink some whiskey.
What is it?
Go.
Sambuca.
Sambuco Barbershop.
Guys, she is phenomenal. I got the kitchen haircut. Literally was in there, but yeah, you can get like free beer and free whiskey at their place, and you can just get a haircut. It's not that bad.
Oh man,
Look up Miss Kelly. But anyways, all right. So you have like 900, which is crazy. Jordan, what started your hat fetish that you love?
Oh man, thank you for calling that a fetish.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, because y'all have two incredible heads of lettuce. Like
thanks,
y'all's hair is absolutely. Yeah, can we take that off and look? See, and I don't, and I wear hats less than you guys do.
Hey man, if I could have a little bit more hair here
on your beard
and less here, I'd make that sacrifice. I'd just shave my head bald and then have a beard and kind of look like a scary guy.
All right. So when did your hat thingamajiggy come about?
Oh man, honestly, like I've always really loved hats, but when the 5950s really started to take off, I really was like, these are cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Because you're a big fitted guy, right?
Big fitted guy. I prefer fitteds over snapbacks.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Big fitted guy. Yeah. Like I wear a 7 and 7/8.
Yeah.
Or a 7 and 3/4. Either one of those two. If you're a hat person, you know you can sit between two sizes pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Joel knows my hat size.
7 3/8.
And sometimes I forget, but then he knows. He'll be like, Trevor, I got you 3/8. I'm like, golly, I thought I was a half. He's like, no, you're 3/8. So it's basically forever that you know. And you're a ball player growing up too.
Yeah,
so.
but even like when I played ball, like we never had New Eras because they were like super fancy hats.
True.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say honestly, my first New Era hat that I was like, this I want more, was the 2017 or 2018 Charlotte Knights batting practice hat with the K.
Wow.
It was the all black kind of mesh New Era with the K,
Diamond
the
era.
sword K.
Yeah.
That hat, I wore that hat, and I wore it so much that I went back and bought another one, and then I went back and bought another one because I loved that hat. Like I just wore them till they were like grungy, and then I would go back. Gotta get another one.
So 3.
And then they discontinued it, and it was my favorite hat, bro. Like it was my favorite. It went with anything I wore.
I think they still have some
They do?
at the Knights, yeah.
Man,
Last time I was there, they had them.
I just gotta I want one so bad again. Like I love that hat. And then from that hat, I just started like buying like minor league hats. Like I bought like a Tacoma Rainiers hat. I bought Frisco Rough Riders, Round Rock Express, the Daytona Tortugas. That's one of my favorite hats, the Tortugas hat. Like the old Tortugas, not the newer ones where they do too many colors. Like kind of like the basic, like they're kind of like green green with the royal blue Tortuga. Oh, it was a beautiful hat. And then man, Major League hats, like I love. I have a Braves 5950 home, navy blue with the red bill. Love that hat. I try my best not to like, because I like to wear them. Like,
you're not gonna just buy one to wear it once, and then unlike this guy to my right, Joel, and the camera's left.
I would say, Joel, you're like a collector.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, Joel, when is the last time? So you don't re-wear hats, correct?
I mean, I do. It's just I have so many that I can wear a different hat every day. And I do. I have an Instagram for it, and the whole point is
that's amazing.
I highlight like what I like about the hat, the history behind the logos on it and stuff, like where it came from and years it was worn, all that kind of stuff. So for me, like I collect hats because I grew up playing baseball and I was always into art and drawing. And I would look at logos as I was playing for these teams growing up because we were lucky enough to actually get like Major League Baseball shirt jerseys and hats in my Babe Ruth league that I played in. So I would just, especially seeing the Marlins and like Tampa Bay Rays on stuff all the time, like fell in love with those logos and colors. And that's kind of where my branding, like everything trajectory started going up. And from there, it's just like, I looked at it and I was like, I love the history of logos. I love the history of designs and seeing how it's changed and honoring. I'm just a massive baseball fan. Like I was at the Braves the last 2 days, or Sunday and Monday for my birthday. I was at the Braves and went to 2 days of baseball. And I just, at one point I stopped and I was just staring at the field with this golden glow on it. And I was like, how can anybody be dumb enough to think there's a better sport than this?
I love that.
Let's go.
It's like, it's just a beautiful game.
Podcast today.
And like, I mean, it's like they said in one of the great baseball movies, Moneyball. it's really hard to not be romantic.
Yeah, how can you not be romantic about baseball?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So,
well, yeah, keep being a hat guy again, guys. How can people follow you on social media?
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
You got your hat stuff. You have your Full Count Studios. What you
got? JWJ Hats. If you want to sit and watch me post hats and talk about why I love them.
You do like every day, right?
Yep, every single day. Today it's not actually this. I put this on for the podcast.
You got Tampa Bay stuff.
I got a Tampa Bay City Connect hat waiting for me in the car. That's gonna go back on.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want to sit and look at my hats and just hear me ramble about them and get opinionated about logos sometimes, you can do that. You probably don't want to, but you can. And then if you want to follow along with design stuff, I've been a really busy person over the last 2 years, so I haven't done as much, but on Full Count Studios you can see my stuff. You can see Clink Room, and I've had theoretical ideas for all-star game logos when they've been hosted by different teams and how you can make cool stuff and that. So yeah.
It's really cool, man, and I can tell you we're very fortunate to have you. Again, you're brilliant. You have a brilliant mind when it comes to those things, and when it comes to other things, maybe not so much. But
hey, now
I
scored
he's a big
higher
Rockies
on my
fan.
ACTs than you.
I know. Yeah, I mean, dude. Hey, there's a lot of monkeys out there that can score higher than an ACT and an SAT than me. But
that's that Cabarrus County education for you right
come
there.
on now. Amen, brother. I said edumacation while I was giving a tour to a bunch of middle school kids the other day, and it was one of my former teachers. She's like, Trevor, don't do that.
Oh, no.
I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. But, dude, we're just so happy to have you, man, and hopefully we can get you some help here soon. I know we're going to get you help. We got an intern coming soon, so we can
mental help.
Get your a little bit of help. Yeah, a little bit of help with everything.
Don't
but
we all?
Can't wait to get you that, because then we can see just the way that your brain goes. But guys, again, we're listening to someone who I guarantee you could be your own studio one day where you
absolutely.
Come on, he was a former
Full Count Studios.
He was a former art teacher as well, so then that just adds into it, man.
Yeah.
This guy's a genius. Reach out if you have anything. Jordan, what else you got to say to my man JJ?
Yeah, Joel, man, thanks for being on today. Thanks for taking the time to come hang out with us, and Rolf, wherever he's hanging out there. It's been really cool to have some video today. And listen, man, you're an honorary talking baller now, bro.
Sweet. Have me on whenever you want. I'll just sit here and talk about random crap.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah, dude. This could have been a 3-hour-long podcast, and we could ask Joel 2 questions and be like, you know what? I love green, and then gone. We could have gone.
Let me tell you about my favorite shade of green. Speaking of green and gold, go Colorado State Rams.
Oh, yeah, Colorado State. No one cares. But, yes, everyone cares about the Rams, dude.
Coach Prime sucks.
Yes, oh, my gosh. We didn't get into that. See, that's another. He hates Deion Sanders more than anything. And me, I'm a big Deion. We're big Deion guys.
I saw a guy wearing a Deion Sanders Braves jersey behind me,
and
I told him he needs to burn it. And he was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because Deion Sanders sucks."
Oh man. A second pod will have to happen later in the year.
Man.
How about that?
We don't need to ruin this beautiful day, Joel.
Hey, whenever we get back,
any day that you talk trash about the Colorado Buffaloes is a beautiful day.
Oh my goodness!
And guys, hey, last thing I'm gonna say, the Axolotl State Canapolis stuff. Again, it is going so fast.
Yes.
Like the fitted hats, the on-field hats have been sold out of everywhere.
They'll be back in July.
They'll be back, not back until July. So whenever you guys get it, make sure you guys get it quick. Reach out to Joel. Reach out to the
first game is May 6th. So be there May 6th. We're going to do a post Cinco de Mayo celebration where our Copa's for the first time. And it's going to be huge. And you guys can all come out and wear the Axolotl gear and deck the park in some unique, fun colors that we've never worn before.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be awesome. Well, hey, listen, thanks so much for listening to the Talking Ballers podcast today. If you want to sponsor the Talking Ballers podcast, you can email us at talkingballers, TALKN ballers at iCloud.com. We would be a great, sponsee, aka Cheerwine. Also, we are just so glad you're listening. You can go to the talkingballers.shop. Get some Talking Ballers swag. One day we're going to do a little collab with Mr. Joel Johnson over here and get it up on the Talking Ballers shop. That'd be cool.
Ooh, you guys could be the test audience for the powder blue fallback. Make a jersey and a hat.
Oh, yeah.
If it sells well, then Matt Millward, you got to pull the trigger.
Oh, yes.
I knew having Joel was almost a good idea.
This has been a great day. Listen, we've been Talking Ballers. You've been awesome. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Joel. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you guys next week for episode 4, season 2. Trucking along, baby.